26F unsure about moving states for husband 26M after ultimatum he gave. I'm 26F, not a U.S. citizen but here legally. I've lived in Massachusetts since I was a kid and all of my support system is here. My husband, 26M, is a military veteran. We've been married since May 2024. Earlier this year our relationship was very unhealthy and we fought a lot. After a major fight in August, we agreed to stay together and do counseling. We started couples counseling in October, so it's only been about 10 weeks of counseling. During that earlier argument, he told me the choice was either I move with him to Arkansas or we get divorced. That wasn't a choice, it was an ultimatum. That felt very intense at the time, but now it's becoming real. He wants to move to Arkansas to be closer to his family. I understand why that matters to him, and I've tried to support the move, even though I've always felt hesitant, especially because of how it was originally presented to me. He bought a house there, one we both liked, and we're scheduled to close January 13th. The deed will be in both our names, but he's paying for it. The plan is to stay for at least 2 years. He plans on being the sole provider, using his disability income, and says I don't have to work unless I want to work or go to school, if I want. I'd only be responsible for paying my car loan and credit cards. My hesitation is that moving would mean leaving my support system, becoming more financially dependent, and living in a place that causes me anxiety due to the current political climate. I've tried to be supportive of the move, even though I've had ongoing doubts, and I'm struggling with how to reconcile that. I love my husband, and I don't think he's trying to hurt me. He says he thinks I will be safer in Arkansas. I'm just worried that making such a big move while we're still early in counseling could be risky if things don't improve. Am I being unreasonable for hesitating, or are my concerns valid? Edit/update, answering common questions. I've lived in Massachusetts for 20 years, and that's where my support system is. My legal status is valid, but not tied to my husband. Marriage does not make someone a U.S. citizen. The process takes years, and sponsorship is optional, not automatic. I work in administrative/accounting roles and plan to continue working in Arkansas, even if part-time at first. I have my own bank account and savings, and do not plan to become financially dependent. I also plan to pursue a degree while there. Arkansas State University is about 20 minutes away, and VA education housing assistance would help but not replace income. I'm not planning to get pregnant, and I'm getting an IUD placed before leaving Massachusetts. We would be living in Northeast Arkansas. This is not a permanent move. The plan is about 2 years to renovate the house, sell it, and then buy a long-term home elsewhere. We chose the house together, and he is aware of my second thoughts. We already have a plan to return to Massachusetts in May 2026 for a family member's birthday. We've been in counseling for about 10 weeks and have seen improvements in communication. We've agreed to continue counseling in Arkansas, and the ultimatum was addressed. We're working on making decisions collaboratively rather than through pressure. My husband is a veteran with a 100% service-connected disability rating. He is able to work, but his mental health can fluctuate, which is why being closer to his family became important. His family lives in Arkansas. I've spent holidays with them. They attended our wedding in Massachusetts, and they've been kind and welcoming. I'm hesitant not because I don't care about my marriage, but because I don't want things to get worse again after they've started getting better. I'm trying to make a thoughtful decision that protects my mental health and independence while being in a healthy marriage. I live in Arkansas, and I would never recommend it here. I can hardly think of anything more depressing than living in effing Arkansas with no job or friends and family and a rocky marriage. Please don't do this. He says he thinks I will be safer in Arkansas. How so? Run away. You know what strikes me the most? He thinks I will be safer in Arkansas. He is isolating you, and you will be hurt really bad if you move, especially after an ultimatum. You will get more advice here, but I think you know that a divorce is what is good for you. Do not leave your support system. Arkansas is notoriously backward, and you will not be in a place of support, but he will. Don't do it to yourself. Stay in the place where your legal status won't be challenged. They're deporting legal residents, so stay in a state where you have a fight if wrongfully picked up. My F22, husband, M23, threatened me over text. Is this reason enough to leave? This is a very specific incident, but there are many others like this. I am 38 weeks pregnant, but was 37 for most of this story. I've stopped working, we live in a filter upper, and it's not working out for me to work on the house, do housework, and also work, so I am just doing housework and working. We fight nearly constantly about housework, so we have made up a chore chart to split everything 50-50, and so far I have been keeping up my part of the bargain, and he has not been doing his at all. He got angry and started yelling at me one morning about how I never contribute anything, and then told me that he would clean the kitchen after work. I ended up doing most of the dishes, but the next morning I woke up to texts 17. Since we moved recently, the clothing that he's threatening to donate refer to literally all of the clothing I own, except for a couple sweatpants and sweatshirts that I've been wearing around the house. I'm so scared of him sometimes, and he has never hit me, but he can be very intense when he's mad. I started packing up everything I could think of, including some baby stuff. Since I have his location, I could see that after a little while he left work and was making his way home, so I just grabbed what I could and left for my parents. My parents live about 3 hours away, so I really don't want to be here for long. I want to give birth at the hospital I've been going to, but I really don't want to be in a house with him right now. Text 8 was after he was asking when I plan on coming home. We've exchanged many more texts in between, and I'm happy to add whatever, but I feel this is the most relevant. He did schedule couples therapy, which I have been begging for, but I don't think I see a way forward where this is his attitude. In his opinion, this is all about me not wanting to do the dishes, which it really has nothing to do with. It seems really clear to me that I left because he was acting scary, but he is dead set that I left because I didn't want to do the dishes. The text's here. Regardless of his threat, he talks to you like shit. Are you prepared so spend the next 50+ years being treated like that? You married an abusive, spoiled child. I can't believe you are having a baby with him on top of it. Stay at your parents' house. It's not safe to be around him. Please consider staying at your parents' house, which I think you said is 3 hours away. If you have the baby at your parents' location, you can establish residency there, and the baby will have residency there, and you will get to be there around your support. Jurisdiction over the baby will be there, and that will be the baby's primary home. If you go back to him and have the baby at his location, he can petition the courts after the baby is born and request that the baby be required to stay where he lives, and then you will be stuck there. Please call a family lawyer tomorrow and at least see what your options are. You should be afraid of your life partner exactly 0 times in your relationship. That's the normal amount of times to be scared of them. He's abusive. Couples therapy doesn't help when one partner is abusive. I am 38 weeks pregnant, but was 37 for most of this story. You're that far into your pregnancy, and he's expecting you to do all the housework? Your husband is not a reasonable man. My parents live about 3 hours away, so I really don't want to be here for long. I want to give birth at the hospital I've been going to, but I really don't want to be in a house with him right now. Consider talking with your parents about figuring out a plan for how this can happen. Otherwise, you may have to come up with a plan B for how to make the delivery happen. I wish you and your baby all the best. Nope. I'm so sorry, but this will not improve not beyond the 10 minutes when he takes enough accountability to get you to come back. He is an abuser, and over time this gets worse, not better. He hasn't hit you yet. I would not bring a child into a home with this person. Save these texts for the custody mediation. How do I 35F tell friend 50M that I no longer want to be friends after he frightened me? I no longer want to be friends with him after he frightened me last week, and I am unsure of how to word a text message to tell him this. We became friends in June this year, so the friendship hasn't been long. He has however been there for me in his own way during a severe mental health crisis that began end of August. At the end of August, I attempted to take my life through my immediate crisis therapy. It was undeniably caused by an abusive and violent ex-partner 2 years ago that I had suppressed and not spoken to the police about. When this all happened, I told him everything. He is very aware of what I experienced. Now, this man isn't a saint whatsoever, but I have always been taught to never ever judge someone by their past mistakes. He told me about how his ex-wife and him broke up. He found her in bed with another man and decided to use a baseball bat and beat the man. As a result of this, he no longer has immediate access to his children, as the mother will only allow him to see them if her parents and with them. He would bring up his upset about the children often. Each time I just tried to stay neutral, tell him to just do what she's asking because ultimately they are his kids, and if he won't play game, he won't get to see them. This will bring us up to last week when we met up at a pub for a catch-up and a glass of wine. He brought it all up again, but this time I explained to him that I understand his ex-wife's point of view. I understand why she doesn't want her children to be around him. I asked him if he regretted beating the man up, and he responded, he was in my house. With such a clear statement, he had absolutely no remorse. He responded with sheer anger and started shouting at me, blaming everything was because of his ex-wife. He ran out of wine, and I told me he was going to the bar to get another one. Everything in my body and soul told me to run, and I immediately ran home as soon as he disappeared. I messaged him to say I had left and that he had frightened me. He replied straight away with a numbered list along the lines of number 1. Don't leave without telling me. Number 2. Don't invite me for a drink then leave. I told him again that I left because he scared me and not to contact me. I've had to tell him twice since then. I cannot tolerate anyone violent in my life, especially men. Please may I have some help on how to word a text message to let him know this? Thank you so much in advance. Block him, go back to therapy, and learn some better skills to detect bad people. You don't need to judge someone by their past mistakes to think, I shouldn't hang out with them. You don't need to tell him anything else. You already told him not to contact you, that's enough. Mute his messages and go to the authorities to create a paper trail if he continues. Well, something along the lines of, your behavior has showed me some parts of your personality that made me realize I do not want to be involved with you anymore in any kind of way. Rest assured, it won't go well, and I do not think there is any kind of message that will go well. Send the message, wait for the first angry message and block him. Block him and don't speak to him again. You need not explain to him in detail. He had already scared you and disregarded lines of speech. A simple message is enough. Say something, I am terminating this friendship. The way you were acting boiled my blood, and I do not feel comfortable being in touch. Do not ever speak to me again. Then block him. His feelings do not count compared to your safety. Block him and you move on. He's not going to go after you to confront why you block him or ignoring him. You both are not in a romantic relationship. You do not owe him your friendship. You explain to him your actions, and instead of apologizing, he got more mad. That's a huge red flag. Run. Like literally. Get away ASAP from that friendship is not healthy for you. Breadwinner partner, 37 male, resents supporting me, 37 female, but blocks every attempt to change it. I, 37F, have been with John, 37M, for about 6 years. During the first 2 years, everything financial was separate. We both made enough money for our lifestyles, him about $300K and me about $120K, and he would spoil me with paying for all our dates, etc. I have children from a previous marriage that I have full custody of, no support from their father. We decided to have a baby. We talked about what that would look like financially and decided that he would take over most financial responsibilities so I could have a relaxing pregnancy and postpartum, as well as stay home with our child as much as I wanted to. During this period, my field of work experienced a huge saturation of experts and my workload greatly diminished. I, of course, said I would get other employment, but John insisted that being away from our child would not be worth a lower wage and more work, so I would just take on the lighter workload and he would still cover the bills. Well, over the last few years we have experienced a lot of really hard times, not financially, but there has been a lot of loss and trauma and upheaval for us all, none of it being something either of us could control. The stress has definitely created some of our biggest challenges in our relationship yet. Tensions have been high, and now I'm in a place where I feel like a burden. And he talks to me like one as well. So I said I'll get back out to full-time work. He doesn't like that because he'd have to pay for our child to be babysat, and he also doesn't want our child to be gone from either of us that much. I suggest opposite schedule. He doesn't like that because we won't see each other. The list goes on, and it seems like he has a reason to veto every idea. I will note that I do contribute about $2,000 a month. Small, but it's something. I understand that being the breadwinner can be extremely stressful, as well as supporting children that aren't your own, but I feel like my hands are tied. I feel like garbage, and I've considered moving out more than once. I've tried discussing it in depth several times, but he doubles down. When I ask him what he suggests I do considering his many vetoes, he says, I don't know, you figure it out. I set up an appointment with a marriage counselor, so we can hopefully talk it out with an unbiased person, but that appointment is over 6 weeks away. Too long did not read. My partner wanted me to stay home, but now talks to me like I'm a financial burden, and vetoes any attempt I make to change the situation. How would you handle this? Any ideas on how to get to a compromise of some kind? Thanks. Girl. Get yourself a job and stop allowing this man to make you feel like a burden. He can't make you feel shitty and then say no to another option to fix the problem. You need to stop waiting for his permission. Get back to work and stop waiting around while he makes you feel like a burden all the while. Of course he blocks it. He wouldn't have the opportunity to hold it over your head and control you otherwise. This is financial abuse. Stand up and get a job. Read why does he do that? He's not unique. Abusers are a dime a dozen. Free PDF here. It is also not advised to go to counseling with manipulators and abusers. They will use it to further manipulate and control. I would get a job ASAP. Fuck his objections. You cannot be financially dependent on a person that views you as a burden. Seriously change that now. I'd ask him if he'd rather pay alimony and child support. $300K is a livable wage, even in a high cost of living area. I think the counseling idea is a great place to start because there would seem to be something underlying that's bothering him. Is the $2,000 you get from child support? So he doesn't want to marry you, he doesn't want to support you, but he doesn't want you to support yourself. This does not sound like a good situation. Work on getting yourself the job.